to you.
She go.
Oh,
Well,
I
that's
was
Say
enjoying
hello.
that whole conversation
Hey.
there. That was great. That conversation, I loved it.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I really did.
Everybody
I
likes.
really did.
Right. Everybody likes to talk about what's on the other side of being human. But when I talk about it, when you start talking about stuff like that, all it does is puts false images in your head, and gives you expectations and all of this kind of stuff. It's like I can tell you three, well, maybe four, but three definite and profound experiences of being on the other side of being human. And none of them are going to make any sense to anybody except me, because that was the purpose of them. Revelation is intensely personal, and, you can't really, you can sort of point at it a bit and talk about it, but you can't actually convey a truly accurate sense of things, not in a way where it's going to trigger that memory. Well, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it will trigger the memory, but highly unlikely. Most people just look at me with a weird kind of blank expression and like,
Yeah.
What were you smoking at the time? That's a common response. Like, you try to tell people you were perfectly straight and sober and performing an act of prayer and meditation at the time, and they look at you like you're some kind of psychotic. Sometimes I feel it'd be better to say, "Oh, I was on LSD or something," and just fob off that whole, that whole misunderstanding.
But we need those struggle bits, Dave, don't we? As well, we need those struggle bits, and we need to hear those language bits where we're struggling, and like we have to, that's kind of like, everything Tina was saying there kind of made sense in the world of, whether it's an illusion
and
or
that's
whatever.
the problem.
Okay, yeah, good. I'm nailing it then.
It always makes sense in the dream. When it stops making sense in the dream, then you're making progress. It doesn't matter what the dream's about, spiritual or otherwise. It's all just gobbledygook. It's like, I love Richard Bach, the author of Illusions, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And in one of his books, he's got like 4 or 5 books, but in one of his books, he says, I think it is Illusions. He says something like, "And now forget everything you've read in this book. It's all not true," and it leaves you with the sense of thinking, why the hell did I even bother reading this book?
Yeah.
And I think it's Adi Dar Samaranch was the same. He had this kind of attitude of, it doesn't matter what I tell you, it's all rubbish. It's all not true. The truth is within you, and that's going to explain everything much more and with much greater clarity and perfection than I ever can. So all you can do is allude, just sort of like point that way. It's always that way. Go up.
Yeah.
Up in thought, up in action, up in release, up everything. So, but it's good though. But the thing is, Barry, you don't have to struggle, right? So the whole point of A Course in Miracles, the whole point of the miracle of which you are, is to void the necessity for that learning through struggle, learning through pain that we have somehow convinced ourselves isn't valid unless we struggle to earn it or struggle to come to an understanding with. We seem to feel that the lesson has greater value if it costs us more in terms of personal sacrifice, which is just ego bearing on it. Like it doesn't really mean anything. It's like, if the whole point of learning the lesson is to learn the lesson, what does it matter how you learn it? Let's just simply learn it through joy, which is the message of the resurrection. It's like Jesus gave his life in a non-sacrificial sacrifice, let's say. Like, to him, it wasn't a sacrifice. We see it as a sacrifice. Oh, well, God sacrificed his son. Horse shit. Jesus says quite clearly, I'm not the body. I never was the body. And that thing that you nailed up on the cross wasn't me. It's like, well, let's learn from that perspective. Who is it that's
Yeah.
undergoing struggle? Who is it that's enduring this struggle of learning? When in actual fact, Jesus is telling me, you don't have to struggle to learn. You don't have to suffer to heal, you know, and all this sort of stuff. You don't need to know fear to be joyous. You know, you don't need, but yet it's through opposites that we've learnt badly. And so there's this kind of lag, there's this period of overlap in our spiritual determination where there's a letting go required of that old ideology where we think we struggle to learn something, and it means that something we're learning must have greater value because we've struggled so much to get there, you know. And then we tend to poo-poo on people who get there without having to struggle. It's like people that are born rich and people that have struggled to make wealth, you know. It's like, I went through so much to become financially independent and through decades of poverty and struggle and learning and study, and this guy was just born with all the money. And we tend to look down on people that haven't really earned it in our own respects of earning it, what we think earning should be. You know, if you didn't struggle for it and you didn't earn it and you didn't really work hard for it, then do you really deserve it? It's like bullshit. You're a child of God. You deserve it. It's like the teaching of the vineyard. All the workers in the vineyard get equal pay, whether you work for one day or work for 100 years. It's like the love of God is in you and you're entitled to it. Why don't you just accept it now? You know, that's lesson 200. Above all else, I want the peace of God. It's like, well, it's in you now. You only need to look around to see how many people say these words but don't really mean it. And that's the point of our transformation, where we look at ourselves in the mirror and we hold ourselves to account and we say, well, I'm saying the words, but I haven't had the experience. So therefore I must not really mean it, because God only gives. You know, if God only gives and God gives unconditionally, and all I need to do to receive that is accept it unconditionally on the terms in which it's given, which is not really a term because it's unconditional, you know, that's the greatest struggle you're ever going to have. And that struggle is the struggle, if you want to call it a struggle, but that's across the board for all people, all humans, all temporal experiencers. You know, everybody has that. We say one thing, but we mean another, and that's a deliberate, you know, that's a deliberate action. But it's like, luckily through the course, I'm able to now look at my thinking and realize that I'm saying one thing, but not really meaning it. I'm meaning something else, which is why Jesus says you have ears but can't hear and eyes but don't see. You know, I'm a walking contradiction unto myself. And it's like when I look in my mirror, it's like I see it. And maybe it's not fun to look at it. And maybe it's not nice to be humbled and all that sort of stuff in pride and all of these things. But at least it's better than living the rest of my life and whatever other experiences of life I have in this physical dimension completely ignorant. That's a joyous learning. And it only takes that humbling of pride once. It only takes that moment of confrontation once for you to realize that the results of making the confrontation are more beneficial than the denial of it. Because it does bring you true peace, it does bring you true joy, and it does bring you true happiness. It's like finally you have an actual purpose in your life and you have a real reason for getting up in the morning, rather than just going to work and getting home again. It's like you have to have that. You have to have that one moment. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to struggle and suffer in order to learn the lessons that the course is presenting to you. You don't. If you can see it, this is where mind training is so important. You know, if you can look at your cycles of active repetition, right, which in the beginning is very obvious, right? But if you look at those cycles and you see, oh, I keep doing this habit, or I keep having this same encounter with these people, or whatever it is, right? You can free fall into prayer at the moment you see those things, and hold yourself accountable to that prayer by being still and allowing the shift in your consciousness to occur through grace, rather than having to continually go out each day and confront those cycles until finally you feel you're worthy enough to be healed of it, you know. And if you think that you don't think you're not worthy enough, then it's like, man, keep going, because I tell you, that's a trait of being human. That's a trait of false belief, is unworthiness. You know, who am I? You know, what's that, Tina, that Nelson Mandela? Who am I to be fabulous? And speech. That's the most incredible, you know, who are you not to? Who are you not to be wonderful and fabulous and entitled to love and perfect security? You're a child of God, and you're playing small does not save the world. You know, and at some point you've got to stand up and go, yeah, fuck it. I'm a child of God. What the fuck am I doing? And you've got to look in the mirror, and you've got to like address yourself. And the bigger the shock in that regard, I guess, the better, because it's like sometimes you can say things, you know, like, oh, I'm never drinking again. And then next week you'll have another drink. Oh, I'm never drinking. And you don't really mean it when you say it. It's this kind of like idealistic, just parroting of things that, you know, they're bred into the psychology of what denial is, what human is. And we just go along with it. That's suffering. That's real suffering. And no lesson is ever learnt there. You know, you don't learn anything. All that ends up happening is you wandering around going, oh, everything happens for a reason. And you have no freaking clue what the reason is. You know, it's the things that you don't know that fuck you up. You have to realize your total situation. Oh, I seem to find myself in an illusory experience of being separate from the creative power of all things. It's not true, but until you know that you find yourself seemingly in that situation, you can't seemingly make your way out of it, awaken from it. You know, remember, all healing is an illusion of healing. It's like it's an illusion of walking away, and it's an equally illusion of walking back, like the prodigal son. You never left home. That's the message of the Course. You never left home. You're in eternity now. You know, when you really hear that, it's like, oh my God, doesn't matter what I do. Doesn't matter what I do here in the world. I can go stand on the street corner and sell bags of fruit, or I can become an executive at IBM and make billions of dollars. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing going on. Mm-hmm. And then your life becomes joyous. It's like, you know, those movies where, I don't know movies, but those scenarios where somebody will find out they've got a week to live or whatever. And it's like all of a sudden you see that your meaningless, tedious life in the suburbs has been nothing, and you just go mental. You've got a week to live. You spend your life savings on a yacht, you know, and you start traveling the world and, you know, experience all these things. It's like that every day. You know, why are you not like that every day? As a conscious kind of attitude in your mind. It's like I look at my experience within the dream now, right? So one of the things I love in the Course, and it took me a long time to really accept this on a level that I guess it's still kicking in, but where Jesus says, those who are certain can afford to wait and wait patiently, right? Now, that certainty comes from self-realization. There is no certainty other than that, right? Because to know something is to have knowledge of it, and the only thing to know is what you are, which is your unified self, if you want to call it that, or your Christ self, Buddha self, whatever you know, whichever way you lean. And the idea of waiting and waiting patiently, at first, it seems to be like this lesson about patience. You know, it's like maybe Jesus is telling me I need to learn to be patient here. And it's like, not really. He's talking about a state of resting in God. I rest in God. Those who are certain can afford to wait and wait patiently. And I remember there was a kind of a penny drop moment for me with that idea. It's like, yep, I remember my true self. I've had all these other corroborating experiences that go along with that from a sort of top-down, backwards kind of perspective, which was a head fuck to work out, believe me. And I've finally arrived at this place where Jesus' teaching of waiting patiently and me understanding that and being able to associate that like comprehensively sort of comes together. And I had this moment where it was profound. I was in a cafe in town here, probably about 10 years ago or 8 years ago or something. We have this South American Brazilian style cafe called Coco Cabano or something. They sell big cigars and like drinks in with things in, you know. And I was sitting there and I got this profound sense of sitting in the foyer or sitting in the lobby, because they have those big leather wing-back chairs, you know, it's really comfortable, like Fidel Castro's private lounge, you know, the whole thing's set out like that. I had this profound feeling of being in the foyer or the lobby of a grand hotel, and like the girl from Ipanema was playing in the background, you know, dun 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 dun, and I was just waiting patiently. And there was this whole thing like I was sitting in the foyer of this hotel waiting for somebody to turn up, and it's like, oh my God, I'm waiting patiently, you know, and I was waiting for whatever the drink or whatever I'd ordered, and, you know, something going on there. And it really kicked in. And ever since then, for some reason, the girl from Ipanema, that tune has been with me as one of the salvation tunes that's personal and individual to me. And I think I've referenced it a few times in some of my teachings, you know, like the girl from Ipanema. But it really gives you that sense of just like chill out, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. There's nothing to worry about. God's in charge. I don't need to do a thing, you know, get your Cuban cigar. It's really cool. It's really cool. And there's no struggle there, right? The struggle is resisting the teaching. The struggle is resisting the learning of the lesson, the one lesson of resting in God. I rest in God. Any one of those lessons, Barry, right? 365 lessons. Any one of them heard completely, any one of them allowed into consciousness completely, drops the penny that ends the whole thing.
I really get that. I really get that. I
Right.
read one with Angela last week when we were talking together, and I just picked one out and I read it, and it had everything in it. I was talking to her and I was like, that's got everything. That's got the whole of the Course in Miracles was in that one little lesson. I can't remember which one it was.
Read it now. Do you remember it?
Was it 27? I don't know why that's popped in my head. I don't know.
Yep, go on. Let's read it. And then we're going to
God.
do a workbook. We're going to do our own workbook lesson after that, because we're going to do the rest of the.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to.
Tina will find it. 27, Tina. Just go with that.
Okay.
Areas above all else I want to see.
Yeah.
You got it? Do you have it,
Yeah.
friend? Awesome.
Yeah.
Read it. Read it.
Okay.
Barry.
I don't even know that this is the one, right? But what? Okay. But
Doesn't
okay.
matter.
Recognizing that what I see reflects what I think I am. I realize that vision is my greatest need. The world I see attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. If I would remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go. As it is replaced by truth, vision will surely be given me. And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love.
Right. Read that last line again.
And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love.
Once more. Connect. Really connect.
And with this vision,
Breathe.
I will look upon the world. I will look upon the world. And on myself. With charity and love.
Do we want to hear him read it one more time? Yeah, go on. One more. Take a breath.
And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love.
Good. Good. One more.
And with this vision, I will look upon this world and on myself with charity and love.
And now with eyes closed.
With this vision, I will look upon the world, myself, with charity and love. What happened then? Missing for me. That love for myself, that charity, that love for myself has been missing.
It's not missing. You just forgot where you put it.
Yeah.
Look at Tina. Look at Tina. That's where you put it. Look at Bibiana. That's where you put it.
Yeah.
Look at Kevin. That's where you put it.
Yeah.
Look at Anna.
Yeah.
Look at Anna.
I know Anna. I get it with Anna.
That's where you put it. Look at Doug. Look at Doug.
Yeah.
That's where you put it.
I did.
Look at me.
Yeah.
That's where you put it. And every brother you meet and every brother you think of, they hold the memory of your charity and your love of yourself. Just because you've denied it doesn't mean that you've lost it. It's just not where you think it was. Hand it all over to the Holy Spirit and it just gets all put back, put back together. Maybe not in the way you thought it would be put back together, but it gets put back together.
Yeah.
Because it was never out of array any other way, There was never anything wrong. Nothing ever happened, which is a great teaching. But when you're in the middle of your own shit, it's like that teaching doesn't seem to help much. It's it's like easy for you to say. Good.
Thank you, brother.
Anna, what's going on?
Yeah, it seems like all sorts of stuff is coming up. It's like every single day, it's like just keep swimming, you know. But I feel like the more you commit and start your day with purpose, at least when the shit hits the fan, that's you can fall back to that, you know.
Yep. Good.
Yeah.
What else is
I had a
going
bunch,
on?
I had a bunch of body symptoms. I was sick for like 45 days. Like literally,
Ooh.
yeah, with like upper respiratory stuff. It was unbelievable. It was like literally like 45 days of being sick. So that was loads of fun. And I went back to work at hospice, so that's been really good. Looking at that now with purpose rather than, you know, how I was looking at it before. Blessing, not condemning.
Good. That's
I've had
nice.
some really crazy meditations. I actually had probably a couple weeks ago one where an extraterrestrial actually showed up in my meditation.
Were they
But just
blue?
no, like very pale green, like barely even green.
Oh.
It was really bizarre. But yeah, I see lots of blue flashing lights all the time.
Yeah. That's
They're
good.
getting bigger. Sometimes it's just like a dusting of blue, and then other times it's like big, like almost like little firework explosions.
Yeah.
And it could be with my eyes closed or with open.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's trippy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. I've seen a few things with my eyes open, but not those flashes of light. But I know what you're talking about. I think it's what's the lesson where he taught 12 or something where he says you'll see little edges of light around the same familiar objects, blah, blah, blah. So there's quite a few of those sorts of experiences of light, but no, that's good. That's good. All good signs, good symbols.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
Just lots of heavy energy coming up. Like as soon as we started the meeting today, I felt like I was sitting in like a pool of like rippling water right around like my stomach. You know, I was like, oh, this will be good.
Yeah. You are.
Yeah. But yeah.
You know what that pool of rippling water is?
What?
It's the River Jordan.
Yeah.
You can Google that if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
He washed me clean in the river of Jordan, sons of Abraham. Beautiful.
Really, really beautiful.
Yep.
I just need to say I love you all here. I love you all. It's to be said. no small thing that we're no small thing.
Bibiana, what's going on?
Opportunities to recognize responsibility for sight over and over and meet it gently. It's a flow of gentleness, not logic that demands. And I see the habit of analyzing, and I love what you said, struggle to understand any kind of understanding. That's my habit, that I gave it a value, thinking there's value in that, and there's not. So how, I don't want to say it's simple, but on the experience level, it is simple, just recognizing everything is of Creator. So yes, there's no love but God's. And recognizing when on experience level, I say, oh, love is loving my daughter. No, specialness, there are no differences. And meet it gently. So, and I'm grateful. I have series of very crazy dreams. And it's opportunity to recognize that dreaming with closed eyes or open eyes, body eyes is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a personal meaning. And again, trying to analyze and give it a personal meaning. And I'm just swimming in the same thing, what has no value. There's no sense coming out of it. It can be only used for assigning personal meaning. That's what's happening, that habit. So somewhere in a course, I release the world from all that I have given it, the personal meaning that I've given it. That speaks to me a lot, every simple situation. So I'm grateful for the course.
Good.
That I can recognize with a gentleness, insanity. I am insane in that mindset, absolutely insane. There's no pause to rest. And that experience what before I wanted to call I am a victim, I am overwhelmed, I'm too much, I can't handle, all of that belongs to that. Just my own thinking, personal meaning, and listening to it, and this and that, and again listening to it and giving it even time to listen. But it's for me, it's a gift for me to recognize what is of value. So yeah.
You know, the good thing about that, recognizing your insanity or realizing that it's all insane, is in the moment that you realize it's all insane, you're perfectly sane.
Yeah. It falls away with no effort.
It just falls away just straight away. It's only a crazy person that doesn't know they're crazy.
Oh,
It's like
only
mad
the insane
party.
one.
We're all mad down here. Alice.
Only insane one for myself in that mindset, what values that, what I call insanity, will go and try to dissect it and analyze it and try to understand it.
Yeah.
And that's the habit. That's all what it is.
Understanding, trying to understand insanity is what insanity is.
Yeah, and the easiest what speaks to me, and I'm so grateful, really, what comes to my mind is as soon as body, even the sentence, body's eyes will always see differences. The real seeing is done through the mind that recognize that everything is of Creator. And that's what is of love. And every definition in a child's mind, what I created, what I believe that ego exists, but no, I created it, I gave it a job to do, go and find evidence. Everything is upside down, everything, even like responsibility was tied with I'm burdened by it, or I'm not capable, or how guilty I am. And now I see I'm grateful that in Course I find the same words, but I can use those words for the meaning what I can use it for, responsibility for sight. Instead of in a habit, responsibility, how guilty I am in that whatever. And so definitions and the concept that I created now, simple sentence or simple words in a text come to my aid because I'm willing to listen, and be guided that way. Don't feel like I am overwhelmed or something has power over me, that habit of feeling guilty and suddenly I will never make a peace with the world responsibility. No, it's not true. So all of that, the habit of analyze, definition, concepts.
And the
Love is
joy.
one. Yeah, love is one. No separate parts. I love that lesson, there is no love but God's. No degrees, no differences, no for different circumstances, no for different situations. And on experience level, it feels so gentle. And I recognize now that be guided by Holy Spirit, the truth within my mind, what is already there. I'm just available to listen to it. On experience level, it feels gentle. It's a gentle flow. And how different it feels when it's not. So that's where I'm at. And again, lovingly, no exceptions. Do I really want it? No exceptions.
Constant vigilance.
Yes.
It's the price of peace.
Gift. I love someone in a course, and that gave me so much comfort that forgetting is practice of consistency. It's a gift of consistency, because that habit, what I created in a mindset, what I created the ego, wow, I practiced it consistently, so gift of consistency. Thank you.
I love the bit in the course where Jesus says that this course has to be overlearned to be learned. Right? It's like I've totally overlearned being mad.
Yes.
To the point where that madness and the analysis of the madness as the appearance of a way out of it seems to be sanity within the madness. If I can just analyze my motives and just analyze this and that, I'll find my way out of madness. It's like, what are you analyzing it with? The same tools that you constructed it.
Exactly.
There's absolutely no way out that way. You can't awaken through analysis. It's just a slight variation on judgment against yourself, but it's seemingly judgment against yourself for yourself, but it's actually not. You think you're using your judgment as a way to make yourself more sane. And then when you accept that every thought in your head is born of insanity, including the ones that you think you're trying to use to make yourself sane, and you realize that the mind training is to simply not listen to those thoughts.
Yeah. I will not value what is not valuable.
That's right. All of those thoughts, all of that thinking in the world that's manifest from them becomes the same thing. And it doesn't matter whether you're having a cup of tea or driving a Ferrari, or whether you're sitting in South Africa or sitting in a palace, or something like that. It's the same. And in that sense, you find oneness. There's a real oneness in the world. I'm one with all things, no matter where I am in the world, and no matter what my body's eyes seem to be relaying. I have a sense of oneness because I'm in the acceptance of the fact that I'm the dreamer of my dream, and that no matter what my dream seems to present, it's still the dream. a good dream or a bad dream, a better dream or a worse dream. It's still the dream. I don't want the dream at all. You know, there are books out there about spiritual practice to make more wealth and more abundance and more everything. It's like fuck that. I don't want more wealth and abundance and shit. It's like, you can keep all of that. All I want is the love of God. Right? And that I have already.
Peace within.
And will experience in the moment where I'm willing to accept that I have it already. I have it now. I simply need to be still and allow the recognition and the realization of that having to flow through me as the giving of my expression. It's in giving that we receive. Saint Francis of Assisi, you know, it is in giving that we receive. I'm not going to know what is within me until I'm willing to give it away. It's like Jesus says in the Course, protect everything you value by the act of giving it away. Give all to all. And Tina, I've got to thank you for the little gift of giving, that box you sent for. She hasn't got it yet, right? So she hasn't got it yet. It's here, and I kind of been teasing her with it, you know, saying I'm going to open it and have a peek and all of this stuff. And you know, last night she said to me something. All her friends are so jealous, right? This is my daughter. She's 14. She said Tina sent her a box of hip hop, Los Angeles hip hop stuff, you know, like I don't even know what's in it. Her favorite hip hop rapper dude, whatever is Tupac. And
Tupac, yeah. Tupac.
Is that how you say it?
Tupac, yeah. It means glory to God or something like that. So Tupac.
Okay, so that's her favorite rapper. And I just asked Tina, I said it'd be nice to, you know, to get her something, but like I live in a fairly rural environment here, and there are no real stores where you can just walk in and buy something groovy like that. So I asked Tina if there was anything near her she could send her a T-shirt or something, maybe with a Tupac on it. And Tina sent me this big box, right, with all these things, and I've been shaking it a bit. So all this stuff in it. And my daughter lives 1,000 kilometers from here. She's coming to visit me in a few weeks. And so I've been teasing her with the idea that I'm going to peek in and see what's in there and whatever. She's like, don't even open it. She said, you might damage the stamps, you know, on the box, right? And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, Dad, those stamps come from LA. She goes, you don't understand how vital they are to the whole experience that I have, you know, like she's totally immersed in the experience of the expectation of what's going on with the thing, even to the stamps on the box. And I said, they're just stamps, bub, you know. I said, the real good stuff's inside, you know, like, and she's like, no, Dad, I'm keeping the box. I'm going to put it in a frame and hang it on my wall.
Nice.
Oh, I wish I got her better stuff now.
I know, but just the way she sort of conveyed that she wants the whole experience, you know, like the whole thing. Yes, this is my daughter here. Like to her, it's Tupac. To me, God, you know, but like it's the whole, even down to the stamps, you know, like
Wow.
and the sticky tape. I said some of the sticky tape's starting to come off at one end. Maybe I could peel it. And she goes, no, I want the experience of peeling off the tape. That's what she wanted. So her life is all about experience, right? She's totally geared from it from when she was
sweet.
Yeah, like she's been hearing this stuff for like her whole life. And she even said to me the other day something, they have this frozen yogurt store, which is really cool. There's like all these toppings. You can get a big cup or a small cup and they have different flavors. And you do it yourself, like the machine, you put the yogurt in and then you sprinkle on what you want, you know, all the different sprinkles. And her friend's never been there. And so she asked me if I could send her some money because actually I haven't sent the money, shit. But today's her friend's birthday and she wants to take her to this frozen yogurt store. And I was talking to her about the whole thing of the frozen yogurt. She said, Dad, I'm kind of over it. I've been there heaps of times, but I just want to see her face light up when she sees all the frozen yogurt. You know, she wants the experience of her friend's joy. She wants to give that to her, and, you know, like the whole thing, like it's totally in the being, you know, like she doesn't even care about the yogurt. It's just that moment of just seeing her friend go, wow. So anyway, kind of cool.
Oh,
Barry,
she's the best.
Barry, read that lesson again, please. Let's have it.
Okay.
She is
whole
the
thing.
best. I'm gonna film her opening the box and I'll send it to you.
I was gonna ask you to do that. It's
Right.
like, is that too much? Do it. Totally do it. She knows I'm her biggest fan, so.
Oh yeah, she does. When she goes traveling, she's gonna come stay with you.
Where she is, she better. She can't come around here and not stay with me. All
Or
right.
the UK. You're welcome here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, she'll be on your doorstep, Barry.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought you meant me.
Lesson 27 again then.
Have it.
Okay.
Read the lesson.
Here we go. Above all else, I want to see. Recognizing that what I see reflects what I think I am, I realize that vision is my greatest need. The world I see attests to the fearful nature of the self-image I have made. If I would remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go. If I remember who I am, it is essential that I let this image of myself go. As it is replaced by truth, vision will surely be given me. And with this vision, I will look upon the world and on myself with charity and love.
Good. How many kids you got, Barry?
I got 2 boys,
2 boys. What ages?
22, 15.
Good. I'm going to give you an assignment. When you do it, it's up to you. But you have to follow the instructions to the letter. Take the boys to London and have a pint of beer in a pub there. Not the boys, just you. Maybe the 22-year-old can have a beer and they want a Coke or something. Take the boys to London, have a beer in the pub, and then go to Soho to a shop called the Great Frog and buy yourself something at the Great Frog. I'm not going to tell you what to buy. You'll know. That's your assignment. I don't know if it's a day trip or a weekend trip for you or whatever it is, but that's it.
Yeah.
And then we'll read that lesson again after you've done that.
It's very close. I think Andrew just joined us now, and there
Good.
was something Andrew and I were talking about. Has she joined us? Is she still here? Or
She
maybe
popped off. She might be struggling to get on. Let me see if I have a message from
okay.
her. She was
There
here,
was-
yeah.
Okay. because it was strange. It was just this one of these. We had this conversation that I just randomly picked one of these out, you know, and she said that's the one that I always, you know, and it was so critical, and it was very close to this one, and it's got that about dropping the image, you know, about the image. Put aside
Right.
the image. Put
Forget
aside
about
the
that
image.
now. Forget about that now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take the boys, have a beer in a pub, go to Soho to the Great Frog and buy yourself something.
The Great Frog.
Wear your best rock and roll clothes.
I've got a few of those.
Right, I imagine. Anything else, and then we'll stop recording this section and we'll do the workbook lesson, Tina. So anyone got anything? Doug, you good? Kevin, good?
I wanted to say something.
Yep, go for it.
So it really feels like I'm being called for a much deeper connection with Jesus. I've had some very beautiful joinings over the past several months, and pretty much daily I'm offering up this past guilt, associations, attachments. It really feels like they all need to go. And there is this purification going on with me. I quit my job because I felt like it was holding me. Yes, I know. Thank God. It really felt like it was holding my spirit back. And so this identity that I've been holding on to for years is I regularly now go through the forgiveness process where I really just lay back in the chair and am very much aware of how to channel this energy out and have it be in front of me and have Jesus there with me, and can feel it being transformed. And it's let's just say that it's a lot of energy. And so this purification process, it's the most amount of energy I've experienced in purification ever in my life. And it's almost as if there's no holds barred, you know, like if you were here, Dave, if you were here, Dave, you know, I would have to stop by your house for you to, you know, just really help me move this through. But I mean, I'm on the floor, I am arms up, and I am just ready to give it all up. I feel like something good is really going to happen. And for the first time, I don't know what it is. And
right, so stop. I'm ready to give it all up.
Thank you. I'm ready to give it all up.
Stop. I'm ready to give it all up. That's not giving it all up.
Right. I know, because
Stop. I'm ready to give it all up is not giving it all up. Okay.
No, I know.
Now, no, you don't. Ready? Listen. Okay. I see only the past. Okay, let this in. I see only the past. Right? You're right on, I can taste it in the air. You're right on the edge of a shift. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So hear this. I see only the past. When I say, right, and I'm ad-libbing as you, when I say I'm ready to give it all up, I'm uttering words that are coming from thoughts that I've already had about what I think I'm going to say, those thoughts are doubly removed from reality. Okay, they're symbols I'm using to express something outside in the world to deliberately maintain the illusion rather than giving it all up.
I hear you.
Right? Now, there's a point in your own mind. You don't need me. You don't need A Course in Miracles. You don't need Jesus. You don't need anything like that. The power is in you, the power of God. What more could you possibly want? Right? When you say, I'm ready to give it all up, it implies there's a recognition that there is something to be given up. And it also implies there's a recognition of something that's going to occur in the giving up of whatever it is you think you're giving up, which is an illusion, which is good, right? Now, when you said, I quit my job, that's good. Change is always helpful. But the same mistake has been made, okay? Or the same action of mind has occurred. I quit my job, good. Change is always helpful. Sometimes those changes are on the physical level. However, where is it that change is really required? In the mind that has thoughts about the job, right? Now, I'm not saying don't quit your job. That's perfect. You did it, so it must have been perfect. That the script is always exact, right? But that's going to come around again, right? Everything comes around until the lesson is learned. The idea that I would quit my job, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying it's particularly the way it was for you, right? But when I look at anything, including I'm ready to give it all up, what I'm doing is looking at my thoughts.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
My thoughts about this job, my thoughts about giving it all up, my thoughts about anything, right? None of them mean anything,
Right.
but there is something behind them that is calling for change. There is something behind them that is calling you for change, to change.
That's it.
Right. Now, when you feel it, be still. You said, I'm on the floor with my hands up. No, you're not. You're sitting in a comfortable armchair talking to me. All those other stuff is stories that you're recounting about the past, something you did yesterday or the day before, right? Employ your mind training now. Put it into practice now. I don't care who's on the floor with their hands up. How's that going to help you now, right? That's just a story. That's just you trying to perpetuate, not letting go, not releasing, not having that experience that something in you is telling you is waiting for you to accept it into your life right here and now. I can tell you're right on the edge. I can tell there's a cusp, there's a shift about to happen. But these little mind games, these little tricks that you play with yourself, wanting to talk about it and adjust to it and everything, you've got to see that you're doing that. You've got to see that you're doing it. You're going to keep doing that, and you're going to be talking about it in the next 10 years.
I see it now, Dave.
Right, ready? Now, here. Say yes to it. Here I am, Lord.
Here I am, Lord. Here I am, Lord. Take me.
Right there. You can feel it. You feel it? You got it?
Yeah.
Right, now stay there. It's this tiny feeling, this tiny little calling. It's like sometimes you can barely, but you're learning to tune into these subtle frequencies. The voice in you for God, even though it's so silent and so small and seems to be so quiet and gently spoken, it's actually much more powerful than that loud and blusterous voice that tells you that you were on the floor with your hands up and all that crap. Stop listening to that voice. The other thing that's waiting to happen is going to happen immediately in the place where you just give yourself a moment, just enough of a break of listening to that other voice that something else can actually get in.
Yes.
All right, do it. That's all I can tell you, do it. And if I was living nearby, I would definitely drop in for a cuppa. That would be fun. I feel like it would be Womble Town looking at your house there. It would be cool. I like that experience. I don't know if you guys ever have the Wombles. Did you have the Wombles? The Wombles are like collectors of things. Doug's house looks like
The Wombles of Wimbledon. We
an
absolutely
eclectic
did.
experience. You have it, Barry? You have the Wombles?
The Wombles of Wimbledon. Absolutely,
That's
Dave.
it, the Wombles of Wimbledon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing to you?
Traveling free, the Wombles of Wimbledon.
Wimbledon, common are we?
Happy are we?
And-
Something like that.
Underground,
That was such a cool
overground,
show. Wombling free. I'd like to see wombling free, Doug. I don't want to see.
I want to get back into the state that you just witnessed. Can I just tell you one thing first?
No,
Oh damn.
because you said I want, right? I want time. You're never going to get back into the state that you just experienced or that you just touched on if you're living in time. That's exactly the whole point of what I'm trying to tell you. There's always going to be something else that you just want to say. I just want to say. I just want to perpetuate time, right? All of those little wants, even in the name of spirituality, even in the name of Jesus and in the name of God. I just want to tell you something in the name of God. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's over. The dream is done. This is your awakening from that. You either want it or you don't want it. That's the only want that's useful. Now, there, you're right there again. Stay there. The next time the thought comes in to distract you and you want to say something to me, let it go. Stay there. Stay in that place. That's all I'm telling you. And breathe. Right? Breathe. Barry, same thing. Stay there. Pint of beer, the great frog. Buy yourself something. And don't be cheap on buying something. I know how you English people have short arms and long pockets. Let it happen. Be true to yourself in that place. All right. Anything else? And we'll do the lesson. Tina, you're at the bottom of my screen looking like you don't want to be talked at, talked to, talked about. No, all good? Kevin, good?
I'm good.
Cool beans. Doug's good. He's on the cusp. On the threshold. Let it happen, Doug. Let it happen. You know the thing I like about, thing I like about these Zoom meetings? They're outside of time and space, right? So let me see if I can explain this to you. A Course in Miracles was sent into time and space through Helen. Okay? Through a connection that was outside of time and space. Jesus, right? He's already exited the program, out of the building, dropped the mic, whatever. Jesus is gone. He's not here. He's where you actually are, right? These Zoom meetings are the same deal. When you're sitting here with me, you're sitting here with a mind that has already been outside and come back, right? That's the same thing when I recognize the old man, right? So the old man had an experience of the same thing. There was a recognition in me because I guess I realized it in myself. This guy's already been out. He's been out and come back. He didn't have to say anything. I mean, everything he said was pertinent and everything he said was amazing, and it helped me and propelled me 1,000 years in my learning. But, you know, these Zoom meetings, like this room, this virtual room within a virtual dream of a virtual world and blah, 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 it's the same thing. When you read the Course, it's the same thing. You're having an out-of-time experience. There's something that's you're reading, something you're hearing, something you're participating with in the case of these Zoom meetings, right? Because this is a full participation meeting that has its roots and has its purpose outside of time. It's like a link, like a bridge. It is the Holy Spirit, right? And everybody connects with it wherever they're at their own level, at their own ability to participate or willingness to participate, you know? And I love that about it. And Doug, the thing about that for you is that you so willingly enter into it, open to the correction. Right? Now, Jesus says in the Course, who are you to correct your brother? You don't know the truth, right? In my mind, I know the truth. And it may sound arrogant to other Course students. It's like, man, I can make that correction in you if you allow it. I can, not that I can make it, I can show you where it is, you know, in your own thinking, exactly the same way as one of those workbook lessons can. Right? Exactly the same way, except in the workbook lessons, you kind of have to see it for yourself in the doing of the lesson, because it's in the application and the experience of doing the lesson that you actually get the result of it. In this Zoom meeting, it's like we come together, you and I, for this collaborative thing, and we both come out further ahead than when we went in. And I love that. My further ahead is, you know, remembering that I'm sitting in the departure lounge listening to the girl from Ipanema, and your further ahead is, you know, getting closer to finding that Coco Cabana restaurant in your own street so we can sit there together. Rather than being on the floor with your hands in the air. That's what I love about this, right? And we have these moments of joining, these holy instants where we suddenly recognize and remember together, it's just a dream. Like Bibiana, you know, it's just a dream. It doesn't matter. We can laugh, we can just laugh it all away now together. Ready? And find this moment in joy and love and peace and happiness together. That's all. But it seems to be this convoluted kind of like back door, down the alley, up the stairs, over the hill, and, you know, to get back here all the time. When in actual fact, it's simply a decision. It's simply a decision, and the power of decision is my own. Jesus says that in the Course. The power of decision is my own. I choose to spend this moment with God. I choose to spend this moment with my brothers, with this as perfect in my own understanding of where I'm at and what's meant to be happening for me right now, exactly as it is, without judging it, without needing to understand it, just by simply accepting it and letting it in and forgiving everything else that tells me it should look like something else, or I should perhaps be having some kind of different experience of it. No, it's perfect. Everything is always perfect. One lesson you're learning over and over and over. It's your own perfection that you're learning of. Barry, it's your own perfection that you're learning of. Let yourself have it. You're not the body. You're an incredible, incredible being of light. You're a moment. You're a sunset. You ever seen a beautiful sunset? That's you. Like an idea in the mind of God called Barry in the world. It's like, oh, look at that. You know, when you go into one of those places where you go in the fun house and there's the mirrors and it makes you look fat and skinny and wobbly and big head, little head and all of that sort of thing. That's all this is.
Oh.
You've just been standing in front of the mirror so long you believe the reflection. I'm at the exit door somewhere going, Barry, I'm in the Cabana lounge. I'll meet you there. I can't do the mirror anymore. And you're like, okay. And in that moment of okay, we're both there because time doesn't come into it. I don't know if that's an analogy, but anyway, it's probably not a great analogy. My analogies have
everything you're saying is so true to kind of like how I was this morning, though. You know, I woke and there was quite a peaceful space, and
Barry, stop. Ready?
Yeah.
Look at Doug. Look at Doug.
Okay,
Can you see
I'll look
Doug?
at Doug? I can see Doug.
All right, now be like Doug. All of that you were going to tell me about the past and everything. Ready?
Yeah.
Lesson you just read.
Mm.
All right, that's your Doug moment.
Yeah.
This whole Zoom meeting is nothing more than a corrective principle in action, so you can actually see what you're doing in your own mind. I'm the same. I'm sitting here talking to myself in 8 or 9 different variations of theme, applying a singular purpose of remembering, right? My purpose is to remember. My purpose is to awaken.
Yeah.
Everything is geared towards that, no matter how it looks. You're providing the impetus for the Zoom meeting, and Doug's providing the impetus for the Zoom meeting. And it's a teaching and learning thing where we both come out further ahead than when we went in. Cannot not be so, because every effort made to remember adds to the whirlpool of effort.
Okay.
All right, ready? Now, take a breath. Barry, take a breath. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And just feel. Just feel. Don't try to define what you feel. Just feel. The actual feeling itself. Now go deeper. Just take a little deeper. You'll feel it in your heart space. Right? Here I am, Lord.
Here I am, Lord.
I forget the bit in the Bible, but there's a bit where Jesus says, I think to the Pharisees or whatever, if you knew who you were talking to, you would fall on your face before me. Right? They would just shut the fuck up and just, all right? It's like Ted used to say to us as a group, he'd like, what the fuck do you guys even want to say to me? Which sounds kind of arrogant from a human perspective, but when you look at it, it's true. Here's a guy that knows everything. What am I going to tell him? I'm going to tell him about how my dog had puppies or something or whatever. But the funny thing is, Ted would have appreciated that. Yeah, he knows. He knows of our humanness and our failings and our storytelling. He knows all that stuff and loves us regardless. But he would still like to see us living in better conditions. I'm the same. I know you. I know where you're at, Barry. I've been there and clawed my way out of it. And I tell you, you're not far from the top. You're not far from like having that momentous, you know. And I'm not talking spiritually. I'm not just sort of putting out a glib sort of, you know. Yeah. It's like Doug. Doug's on the verge of something, and he may be on the verge of quite some time because he has to master not adjusting to the verge. Right? You're the same, but in a different kind of context. Right? Your shift and Doug's shift and whatever. It's like a shift is a shift. It doesn't matter from what. There's no real levels in this. It's just a part. It's like putting a piece in a jigsaw puzzle. You know.
Yeah.
Some guys are doing jigsaw puzzles that are all grass. And it's like, you ever tried to do one of those ones where it's just all grass or all coffee beans or something? And it's like, man, this. And then some are doing ones that look like, you know, a picture of a merry-go-round or something. It's easy. You just horse's head, put it in. Right. But it depends on, how willing you are to take on board the, what would you call it? The full capacity, I guess, or the max capacity of denial that you can at any given moment. People that experience union through the dark night of the soul, they don't really have a choice. They take the whole lot on all at once. But that's a hell of a way to go because most of those end up in suicide. It's too much. The difference between reality and the dream is too much for the mind to span. And without some sort of bridge, it becomes this incredibly, like, you know, it's dangerous. That's why you need a guide. You need the Holy Spirit sort of like talk you through it and help you through it and point out where it is you're stepping. Look out, there's a pothole there. Look out, there's, you know. That's why those lessons, my thoughts don't mean anything. Oh, really? That's a pothole. Every time I want to respond with one of my thoughts, it's like, What? Hang on, Jesus just told me my thoughts don't mean anything. I won't say that one. I'll just shut up. I'm in the presence of my Father now. I'll just shut up. I'm in the presence of God. I'm in the presence of the universal creative source of all that is. I can't see God, but God sees me. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased.
I remember that one. Oh my God, Dave.
You're awake already, Barry. It's like I just said to Doug, I want to wake up is a want. That implies denial, right? For you to want something is to manifest time so that you can continue to want. It doesn't matter what you want. I want to wake up. I want a new bicycle. It's the idea that you have a want. You have no wants in God. Learn to live in God. Live from the Spirit. Stop bemoaning the fact that you're not willing to do that. There's no such thing as poor Barry. Oh, poor Barry, let's play the violin.
My son with whom I'm well.
Right, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm pleased. Right. You are the beloved Son, Barry, whether you like it or not.
I know, I knew it already.
Of course you know it already. Now live from it. Give. Start giving. Give, and you'll see your supply as endless. You'll see your supply, your cup will be filled, and the witness to God in your life will become apparent to you until the point where you cannot stand that witnessing anymore. I want to know. Until then, you're just living in, I want to know the love of God. I want to get past this block. See how that sounds? It's like
That's
whiny
fucking
little...
annoying. Yeah, it's annoying.
Right. All right. Go and have a beer with your boys in the pub. Go to the Great Frog and buy yourself something. Short pockets, remember. And then we'll talk again, my son.
Oh, I can't believe you brought
Anything
that one
else?
up. Can't believe you brought that
Right,
one up.
exactly.
Bloody hell.
Of course I did.
Ah,
Good. You know, that's it. Let's stop the recording and then we'll do the lesson. We'll start the recording again and then do the lesson. All right. Peace.